Shifting focus over to the other big story we've been tracking all day. It's a disturbing incident that took place at the Delhi airport on Saturday and has once again put the spotlight on whose interests truly matter when it comes to the aviation system, the passengers or the powerful few within it. An alleged assault involving a pilot and a passenger has now triggered public outrage and serious questions about accountability. And need we establish more? That bloodied face of the passenger speaks 1,000 words. The airline has announced that the pilot has been suspended, but beyond that, there's little clarity, no visible reprimand, no confirmation of a complete internal inquiry, and no reassurances to all of those passengers that the matter is being treated with utter seriousness it deserves. At the heart of this case lies a larger pattern, one where passenger interests, safety and dignity often appear to be secondary. So when disruptions occur, when misconduct is alleged, it is the traveller who bears the consequences of it. Yet when it comes to action, clarity is still elusive. Why so? Here's what has come as a fresh twist in the tale, the two versions. Let's break it down for you. One of the victims and the other the pilot. Victim Ankit Diwan claims that he was guided to the security check that staff uses as his family had a 4-month-old baby in a stroller. The accused pilot has claimed that the incident was purely a personal matter and took place when the pilot was traveling as a passenger who was not on duty. Victim claims that the staff was cutting queue ahead of him, and when he objected to it, he was called uneducated. So the accused pilot has said that the incident had no connection to his professional role and that the outrage is one-sided and facts are being misrepresented. The victim claims that a verbal scuffle broke out and he was assaulted. And the pilot says that the victim is selectively presenting the details of this incident. Meanwhile, the airline has suspended the pilot from official duties pending investigation and said that appropriate disciplinary action will be initiated based on inquiry. More importantly, the CISF has submitted its report to the Ministry of Civil Aviation. Incident began as a verbal altercation between the pilot and the passenger is what they are saying in that report. Verbal altercation went on for several minutes before turning violent. Now, the CISF personnel on duty intervened only after the situation turned violent. Pilot was not on duty but used his pilot uniform and I-card to jump the queue. Passenger was not forced to sign an undertaking not to file any complaints. Staying with the story, we're getting in breaking inputs right now. A complaint was received today by the Delhi police through an email from Ankit Diwan. So the FIR is currently being registered in this entire matter under appropriate sections of law, and the investigation will be taken up is what we are being told. Let's quickly go across to CNN News 18's Anvit Srivastava, who brings us those inputs. Anvit, what are you learning? What are the grounds for this FIR?
See, Aransha, earlier in the day when we spoke to Ankit Diwan, he had confirmed that he has written a long, detailed mail to Delhi police as he had just returned from the vacation. And today morning, he had written that email on which now Delhi police has confirmed that the email complaint has been received and action is being taken. Now, an FIR formal letter will be registered, after which sections of assault and criminal intimidation we are beginning would be slapped. Also, it could be possible that the pilot, because he has also raised similar allegations that casteist words and remarks were used against him by Ankit Diwan. So, if he raises a complaint, then police will also take cognizance of that, and a cross FIR could be done in this case. But police have said so far that they are in the process of registering an FIR, and this matter will be investigated further. Delhi Airport, we believe that has also given access to CCTV footages from the incident from the departure terminal where the incident took place to Delhi police, and also CISF has submitted a detailed incident report, because the incident took place within the terminal and CISF is on duty securing the terminal. So CISF has given its detailed report to Minister of Civil Aviation, which also will be part of the investigation. So based on all of the data and the evidence that will be collected by police and CISF, then further this matter will be investigated by Delhi police. Complaints have been raised from both the sides. However, an MLC was also will be done on now after the complaint has been received on Ankit Diwan due to his medical condition and also the injury that he had alleged that he has received. So based on that, investigation will be done and FIR we are believing will be registered by tomorrow.
All right. Many thanks to you, Anvit, for bringing us all those latest inputs. Let me quickly now open the floor for a discussion with my honorable guests. I'm joined in by retired Lieutenant General K.J.S. Dhillon, who's the former General Officer in commanding of 15 Corps of the Indian Army. I'm also joined in by Captain C.S. Randhawa, who's a former pilot of a Boeing 777 and former General Manager, Air India, former Deputy Chief Flight Operations Inspector at the DGCA as well. Many thanks to you, gentlemen, for joining in. Lieutenant General Dhillon, what do you make of the legal team's argument that has been provided for Captain Virender Sejwal? They're saying that the officer was not on duty and that much objectionable remarks were passed against him that also included caste slur.
Good evening, ma'am, and good evening to the fellow panelists and your viewers. Ma'am, first of all, let's get few things clear in this aspect. Question is not whether the gentleman was on duty or not duty. If he was not on duty, he had no legal right to ask for the privilege which is only reserved for a pilot on duty. That is to go ahead in a queue, get the security check done so that he can reach the plane earlier and go and do his duty properly and is in a cool frame of mind. Now, when he is a normal passenger in a civil dress, not even wearing his pilot's uniform, which has stripes and other things, which is visibly you can make out he's a crew. Now, if that is not there, then he has to behave as a passenger. Now, second point which is there is alibi of pilot, being this and that does not stand to logic. It is untenable since he was a bona fide civil dress wearing passenger in another airline. Now, more important point is if a gentleman can be, mentally disturbed so much that is, he loses his cool. What happens when he's in a cockpit and his coffee takes a little longer to come to him? What if the coffee is not as hot or as per the sugar ingredients which he wants? That means he will lose his cool in the cockpit. What happens when there is a weather turbulence which is getting serious? Will he lose his mental balance? What happens there is a hijack situation? Will he lose his mental cool? What happens if there is a technical glitch in the aircraft? And the aircraft has to be, emergency landed at some place. Will he lose his cool? Can we entrust such a person with such mental frame of mind and erratic behavior and temperament with the safety of the crew and the passengers on board any aircraft? I won't like him to be sitting next to me in a passenger seat if he can lose his cool so early and start hitting the other person. And another point which comes up here is, what was the CISF doing?
Yes, that's a question I am also going to deep dive into.
Even the people with Z security have to leave their security outside the airport. I, as a corps commander in Kashmir, when I went to the airport, my security people were staying outside the airport. I used to go inside the airport, single person without any weapon or without anything to protect me. And the thing was, or the assurance was, the CISF is there. They will protect me in case something goes wrong. CISF failed to protect this bona fide passenger on the departure terminal. CISF failed in their duty 100%. And this gentleman got so provoked that he hit a person bleeding in front of his infant child and his wife.
I think
most inhuman.
We need to raise.
Yeah. I wouldn't like to travel. I wouldn't like to be flying in an aircraft if this gentleman is in the cockpit with this type of a mental temperament and erratic behavior.
Lieutenant General Dhillon has raised some very pertinent points over here. Apart from, say, the psychological disposition of this pilot that one needs to weigh in on right now, it is of course being studied also. But Captain Randhawa, more importantly, even the role that CISF is playing. This is not a first. Remember what happened in August this year at the Srinagar airport when there was an army official who had attacked, I believe, 4 staff members of SpiceJet. One of them, in fact, had a cracked spine. One had a cracked neck. So what is the CISF doing? Is CISF also failing to do its job?
You see, first and foremost thing, good evening to you, Akanksha, and my fellow panelists. First of all, I would like to make 2-3 things corrected over here. First is that for crew and for staff members, they have a separate entrance and for the for the security check. There is a separate lane. And for the other passengers, you have many more lanes which are there. So even if you are off duty, since you have an airport entry pass, the crew or the staff members, they can use the staff lane for security check. So that is in order. If he was in uniform or he was not in uniform, because I can't see his stripes, so he's wearing a pullover. So
no, but the CISF report states that he used his uniform and the ID card, his identification. This when he was off duty.
Because the AEP pass I can display even as a normal staff member. When I am going through the security, I may be in uniform, I may be in civil clothes, but I wear that AEP and I can use that lane. So both were, as far as we are concerned, both were as passengers.
Okay.
He was not operating. If he was operating the flight, what the general rightly said, firstly, it's a very, very, an incident which has taken place, and it is of a big concern, which needs to be investigated properly. And what you said is right. What was the role of the CISF when this heated argument started? And that was the time that they should have intervened and separated them. Secondly, why was the passenger allowed to come by the CISF into the crew and the staff lane? They do this. It has happened with me a couple of times where I had checked the CISF staff that this is meant for crew and staff, because at times I have seen altercations taking place, and what they do is to decongest. At times they put a couple of passengers there. Now sometimes the crew is in a hurry and altercation starts. So this has to be avoided. 2-3 steps which the CISF needs to take is, firstly, not to allow the passengers to use the lane which is meant for crew and staff members. The second point is intervention has to be at the right moment. In Kashmir also, what had happened was absolutely unfortunate. And this too, this needs to be investigated. At present, of course, the passenger has been hurt, Ankit Diwan. And what is surprising to me, that he finished his holidays and then lodges an FIR.
No, but all of that is secondary. Captain Randhawa, don't you think that this pilot now has in fact stained his own career graph? Can such a pilot, such a hot-headed pilot, even be trusted?
See, what I want to tell you is that he was not traveling as a pilot. He was traveling as a passenger.
That's immaterial. Carrier. That's immaterial right now, especially when it comes to the behavior that he's displayed, as Lieutenant General Dhillon rightly highlighted, that if he is in fact...
It is not the right thing. I'm again repeating myself. It is wrong. I say so. It is wrong. And this needs to be investigated. Now, what I heard from people, that this passenger started abusing. Now, there was an abusive exchange that the CISF report will tell what is the exact thing. They should even take out the video coverage. The video coverage has to be taken, and it needs to be investigated that what actually triggered this.
Lieutenant General Dhillon wants to make a point, and it's of course a matter of inquiry right now. But Lieutenant General Dhillon, as you make that point, do you also believe that airlines are now being given a long rope after we've already seen the kind of meltdown that took place in December this year? In March, an AI flight reported clogged lavatories. You're also looking at wheelchairs being denied to the senior citizens. What are we signing up for when we are paying for that ticket?
Firstly, a point which Captain Randhawa made, in the military, as a commander, under no circumstances, in a tense situation, I can lose my cool. That would result in loss of lives of my soldiers and my own life also. That may result in a loss of face for the nation. Similarly, a pilot, whether off duty or on duty, his mental temperament has to be so stable and cool that he does not really lose his cool or his temperament on any provocation, because he is entrusted with the lives of 300 or maybe 400 or 200, depending on the aircraft. Those many lives are entrusted in his wisdom. We cannot take this alibi that he was a passenger, that's why it does not affect how he is as a pilot. As a human being, he is unfit to be a pilot in the cockpit with 300 people on board, if this is his mental temperament.
Okay.
Now, coming to your point about how the airlines, yes, ma'am. The airlines, they come, all the culture of the foreign countries, like most of these MNCs, when they come in, they're very good. At the end of the day, after a few weeks, months and years, they start behaving like Nukkad Wali Dukan. They start fleecing you like that. They lose all the ethos, all the culture, all the customer service provider relationship. They behave like demigods. I have seen passengers standing on the gate waiting for the wheelchair, not able to stand. Two people are helping them stand, but the wheelchair is not there. And just for Captain Dhawa's information of your viewers, today I traveled by air and I saw the same thing happening today. The person on duty, he was not a CISF person, he was a civil agency person,
okay,
guiding the normal passengers into the crew lane today morning. And CISF is one thing, the others who are employed, the civilian boys who are employed on the airport, they have no clue what they're doing.
Okay, I'm running short of time. I want to quickly bring in Captain Randhawa also. Captain Randhawa, the CISF report also says that they were not forced to sign any kind of undertaking or file a formal complaint. My point is, why shouldn't there be a formal complaint, or why shouldn't there be pressure to sign an undertaking when you have an incident of violence of this magnitude?
Absolutely right. If the incident took a violent turn, this should have been recorded. And as I said over and over again, I have said that you need to take out the video coverage. The cameras would have recorded all this.
All right. I'm sure that will be done. I'm sure that will be done. You made that point. And thank you so much. I'm running short of time, but thank you for raising those very valid, pertinent points, Captain Randhawa, and of course, Lieutenant General KJS Dhillon as well. And that's all I have for you in this edition of Brass Tacks. Thank you so much.